Hey friend, coming up in this video, we are basically recapping the last several videos we have talked about on this channel because I want to make sure that you are not moving past these conversations because it really can be transformative for your life. So in this video, we're going to talk about a recap of all the previous videos. And if you haven't already, make sure you sign up for our email list. It is super simple. Just go to robinmayonline.com/elevationletters because that is also how I can journey with you. I'm super excited about this recap. So let's dive in. Hey friend, welcome to the channel. My name is Robin May. If this is your first time here, I am so glad that you are here. If you've been here before, you already know what to do. Let's let our new friends know. We want you to put on some fuzzy socks, grab you a journal, get you something good to drink. And if you get at least one aha, one takeaway, my ask is that you subscribe to the channel. You leave a comment, you share the video, because my goal is to help women elevate not just what they do, but who they are. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different because over the last 7 to 8 weeks since the beginning of the year, I've been very intentional about the content that I share on my YouTube channel. I really want to help you elevate. Like, I'm very much committed to that. And so I have intentionally tried to slow things down. And by slowing things down, I am trying to speak to the thing that's happening to you or happening with you internally that you may not have put words to, but hopefully these videos are helping you to articulate, to understand, to get clarity about what is happening so that you can make the shifts necessary in order to elevate. When I'm talking about elevating, I'm not talking about working harder or striving. I'm really talking about you being aware of what's going on inside so that you can elevate up out of toxic mindsets, elevate out of patterns that are hindering you, elevate out of situations that are no longer serving you, and elevate toward what God has for you. And so in this video, I just want to recap, honestly, what we've been talking about since the beginning of the year. Now, listen, if you stumble across this in 2028, if you see this in 2030, this is still going to help you so that you can go back to some of the other videos we have talked about here on the channel and dive into the one that resonates with you the most. And so very quickly, I want to go over the videos we've talked about to recap them very briefly so that you can then decide which one you need to go back and visit in case you missed it. So we started out the year talking about why January feels heavy. When I talk about January feeling heavy, what I was wanting to help you understand is that we often come out of the holiday season. You know, once the end of October hits, it's over because you have to prepare for Thanksgiving. And then we go into that weird time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then you do Christmas Eve and Christmas. And then that super weird time between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And a lot of times we come into January thinking that we're coming into a fresh experience, and we are, because the turn of the calendar is a beautiful time to evaluate, to adjust. So many people resist it because we start saying, oh, I can do this any time of the year. Well, why not use the natural rhythms of our life? So the new year is a beautiful time. So we think we'll come into the new year feeling refreshed, but most of us coming to the new year feeling heavy. We come into the new year feeling tired. We come into the new year still trying to catch our breath from all that happened November and December. And so I talked about why January often feels heavy. And a lot of us consider February 1st our new year because we're still catching our breath from January. And so in January, I really talked about how elevation is not about doing more. It's about becoming centered, understanding what really matters to you, naming the things that really matter to you. And so if you're still feeling a little bit off, you're feeling a little bit rushed, that may be a video for you to go back to, why January feels heavy. And what I'm going to do is link below in the description each of these video links so that you can easily refer back to them. Okay, so January is why January feels heavy. Then our next video of the year, and I'm thinking I'm doing these in order. If I'm not, that's okay, because I'll put the link below. We talked about the emotional consequences framework. The title of the video was, you know what you want. You just don't want the emotional consequences, y'all. When I tell you, I sit with so many women who know that they want to say no to a situation, or know that they don't want to do something that they've been doing, or know they KNOW, they know that there is a shift that they need to make, or something that they need to say, or a situation they need to address. They know what it is they want to say or do. The truth is, they don't want the emotional consequences of it. They will say things like, yeah, I want to stop doing that, but I don't want him to be upset. Or I don't want to go there, but I don't want her to be mad. Or I don't want to do, I want to do this, but I know it's going to frustrate this person. So what you're basically saying is, I don't want that person to have an emotional reaction to what I'm choosing to do. And that's unfair, because you can know what you want, but you cannot control what somebody else does or doesn't do, how they're going to receive it. You move with as much grace, you move with as much humility, you move with as much fairness as you can, but you cannot control what somebody else does. And what's so interesting about that particular video is because this is not that movement where you just follow your own feelings, because there's a movement now where it's like, do what you feel, do what you want to do. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. I don't think that that's wise. I don't think that that's really how life works. Life is filled with compromise. And so you may end up deciding, you know what, I want to do this, but I'm choosing not to because of the fallout that may come. But I want you to choose to do that with intention. I want you to choose to do that out of love, not out of bitterness, not out of a should or should not. I want you to do that with conscious choice. So that's the emotional consequences framework, girl. Go listen to that video. So then we talked about after that, we talked about this concept called the liminal stage. Liminal stage. Don't worry about the fancy word of that. The liminal stage is basically the hallway. The name of that video is You're Not Stuck, You Are in the Hallway. And the hallway is that space between who you used to be and who you are becoming. A lot of times when I'm working with people, and even in my own life, we'll get this awareness, we'll get an aha. I talk to you all the time. Like, if you get an aha, subscribe to the channel, share the video, make a comment, because we get this revelation about our life. We're like, yes, that's it. But it never fails. People come up to me later and say, okay, but what now? What am I supposed to do? Okay, Robin, I got it. Now what? What do I do? Well, what you do is you sit with that tension of who you are, who you were, and who you're becoming. What you do is you sit with the reality of, now I understand this. Now I have to practice this. That is the hallway. That's that in-between stage of who you used to be and who you are becoming. So we lean into that so much. Again, that's called the liminal phase. That's that awkward phase. That's that phase where you might be interpreting it as failure, but it's really not failure. It's just the in-between. Girl, I'm telling you, we've been talking about some things on this channel. All right, let me see how many more we have. We have two more videos that I want us to talk through. The next video was, no wonder you're exhausted. Honey, I didn't come up with the phrase invisible labor, but the more I talk about it, the more I realize so many women have not used those words. Invisible labor is what so many of us are carrying. You feel like, why do I juggle all the things? Why am I thinking about all the things? Why am I worried about all the things? If you're married, you're like, he doesn't even think about half of this stuff. And this is what I've come to realize, and a lot of women might be frustrated when I say this, but I think a lot of this is how women are wired. I really think we're wired like this. And if you have a partner, you're frustrated because your partner is not thinking about all those moving pieces. But more than likely, it's just not in his nature. It doesn't mean that you don't need the help. Hello, somebody. It just means that he isn't going to process it the same way you do. But the invisible labor is a reality, whether you're partnered or not. And so in this conversation, I talked about, you're going to have to decide what you can delegate. You're going to have to decide that everything can't get your A energy. My goodness. You're going to have to decide that some things are going to have to be put on the back shelf, on the back burner. You're going to have to determine what you have the capacity for. Nobody else can make that decision for you, sis. You got to make that decision. And so that's what we talked about when we talked about invisible labor. It is the the things that don't go on a calendar, right? You know you have to go to work. You know you have to go to this meeting. You know you have to finish this project. But the invisible labor is trying to make sure you remember the kid's doctor's appointment and remember to talk to your older daughter about this situation. And you know your mother is struggling with this and you're worried about that. It's the things that you can't quite measure. And it's hard to even get help for it because it's just kind of floating out there. That's invisible labor. All right. Then we talked about the difference, girl, between self-betrayal and self-denial. Now, when I keep mentioning this, I want to make sure you get what I'm saying because I know you're not waking up in the morning saying, oh, let me just deny myself. That's not what you're saying. What you're often saying is, I don't need to ask for much, or I think I'm being too sensitive, or let me just keep pushing. Let me keep tolerating it. And that is what's happening inside of you. And what I'm wanting you to understand, sis, that sometimes we do have to deny our flesh. That's what the Bible tells us. As women of faith, there are things we need to compromise. There are things that we sacrifice. But there is a difference between self-betrayal and self-denial. And self-betrayal causes you to quiet a part of you that was never meant to be quieted. Self-betrayal causes you to tolerate things that God never asked you to tolerate. And so you are um, um, thinking that it is an ask of the Lord to be burdened in that way. And you might be surprised. God is saying, I said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And so what you're carrying, that you're saying that I am asking you to carry, I never asked you to carry it. And so you're carrying some things that he never asked you to. And that is self-betrayal. And that's what we talked about in that particular video, self-denial versus self-betrayal. And so, friend, I have recapped some of the most recent videos that we have done on this channel because I didn't want to give you more information and not give you an opportunity to go back and reflect on those videos. Now, if you haven't already, there is a link below. I'm actually going to put that at the top of the description because I want to make sure that you are on my email list. This year, I am doing something brand new, and it's called Elevation Letters. And in the Elevation Letters, what I'm doing is taking you on a journey of the lives of different women. I'm taking a picture of different women, and I'm formulating it in a way that you and I can relate to. And we are about to transition to a new picture of a new woman. We have talked about Maya. I don't even know anybody named Maya, sis. So I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I made sure the names we chose were people that I did not know anybody by that name, hopefully, because we are finished with the whole year. So hopefully I did that. But we've talked about Maya, and Maya is sort of what has been reflected in these previous videos. Now, some of you are saying, well, Robin, I haven't been on your email list. That's okay. Just join in now. We won't reflect back over what we've talked about, but you can pick up right now wherever you are and join us. I'll put the link below, but it is robinmayonline.com/elevation letters. I want you on the email list. It's absolutely free. And it is my opportunity to walk with you to help you elevate not just what you do, but who you are. So go back, check out the videos. Let me know which one you're going to go back. That's your assignment today. Comment below and let me know which one you're going to go back to. And let me know, Robin, I'm already on the email list. I've already been getting the elevation letters. It is my commitment to journey with you. And so until next week, you got some catching up to do. I'll talk to you soon.